Hey, welcome back to Code with Beto. In today's video, I want to do a deep dive into React Native 83. It was announced yesterday by the React Native core team, and it comes with so many great features, developer experience improvements, and new DevTools features. This React Native version is a special release as well because it now comes with React Native 19.2 features, like the new activity and useEffectEvent APIs. So in today's video, I want to show you how you can use them, when to use them, and explore all the new features that now will be possible to use in 83 so that you are ready for 2026. If that sounds fun, let's get started. Before we dive deeper into the blog post, I want to talk to you a little bit about the courses and resources that we offer at codewithbeto.dev for beginners, mid-level engineers, and senior engineers. I'm pretty sure you'll find it helpful, not only because everything we cover with the React Native course, we cover many things, not only the basics, but also integrations with payments, in-app purchases, how to design a beautiful application, how to make it work across platforms, routing, deep linking, backend submissions, automations with CI/CD pipelines, and all that good stuff. But I want to talk to you guys about the resources that we are offering here at Code with Beto. And one of my favorite examples, and the one that I've been working the most, is the AI tattoo application. Pro members at codewithbeto.dev get access to all these projects, not only courses. The access, by the way, is lifetime, so you get access forever, and you get access to the latest and greatest projects that we are doing, experiments, and production-ready applications. Also, I'm proud to share that this is actually a real application with real users that are paying us. It's making $49 per month. And don't believe me, believe these amazing engineers and React Native community members that have been kind enough to publish tweets about my work, about the things that I do. They truly believe that the work that I do is top tier. So I'm pretty confident that all my resources will help you. I'm going to leave the link in the description. Now, let's go back to the video. Now, there are multiple ways to test React Native 83. If you are not using Expo, you can just upgrade directly. But if you're using Expo, you can also try it by upgrading to the latest Canary version. And if you want to just do a quick test like me, you can create a new project using the Canary template. So in this case, by running create Expo app with the template blank TypeScript, which is the one that I like to use because it comes very simple just to test React Native 83. It comes just with an app.tsx file, and then you pass the @Canary. This will create the project with the SDK 55 and using React Native 83. So I already created a project actually, and I have it here open just to show you this template. It's very simple, only comes with these dependencies, 4 dependencies: Expo 55, Canary, React 19.2, and React Native 83, which is the good stuff that we have access now with React Native 83. In case you are living under a rock, some researchers recently discovered a critical security vulnerability in React server components. This does not directly affect React Native stuff, but if you are using any of these dependencies, you need to upgrade immediately. What you need to do is just upgrade Expo router and just Expo if you are using experimental React server components and React server functions. Okay, just a quick FYI. Now let's jump into activity. This is actually one of the new APIs available with React 19.2. This is a simple Pokédex application that is hitting just the Poke API and showing some Pokemons. But I want to mention some of the latest APIs from React that we can use in React Native, which is really nice. We can use the use API. This API, guys, it's really cool because it allows you to pass a promise and then it will return the data directly. Okay, look at that. That's the loading state. And after a moment, we get some Pokemons. And I'm using activity here, and I'm going to show you the link. I'm going to show you the code in a moment. But I want to mention that, you can now just use and pass a promise. You can pass context, not only a fetch function. For example, this is just a simple fetch function with a delay of 2 seconds so that we can see the skeleton. This means that in one line of code, we can get the data directly and pass it to the flat list and render it. But how the heck are we looking at the skeleton? So let me show you. This is the Pokemon list, and I have it wrapped in a suspense that while we are fetching or while we are resolving this promise, it's going to render the fallback, which is the Pokemon skeleton, which and it's what you're seeing on the device at the beginning, right there for 2 seconds. Now, what would happen if I remove this suspense? Let's comment it out. Let's refresh the application. Nothing, right? Because we're resolving the promise. So because this component is using use with the fetch function, that means that we can wrap it into a suspense, which is one of the other newer, I mean, it's pretty old at this point, but it's new in React Native because now you can use it and you can provide a component fallback that is going to be re-rendered while we are fetching or while we resolve the promise of this component. So now what I'm doing here is using the new activity API that also comes with React. Now, activity accepts a mode, either visible or hidden. Some people actually on X have been asking me, you know, this could have been an enum so that you can pass different values. Like in this case, I would like my value of the tab to be Pokemon or items, right? But I can only use visible or hidden. This means that for these two tabs, I have to have two activities. And each activity needs to validate if the active tab is, in this case, items or Pokemon, then it's going to be visible, otherwise hidden. Now, from now on, guys, if you are on React Native 83, I would recommend that you always use activity. This is because activity preserves the state of the component when it's hidden. This means that you don't need to, you won't see like jumping layouts. This is what you would usually do. And this also works, but you know, it's more prompt to errors. And I think it's not that performant and it doesn't look as clean as a new activity API. So you are going to need to change this in your new projects. Now this is going to be very fast. Look at this. And we don't have any jumps or anything. Now we also have this useEffectEvent, but this new effect event is another API that comes from React 19.2 that is now possible to use in React Native 83. It's aiming to solve one of the common patterns when using useEffect, which is to notify the application about some kind of event from an external system. You know that you sometimes have like subscriptions inside the useEffect and you're kind of like listening for updates. And the problem with this approach is that a change to any value inside such an event will cause the surrounding effect to rerun. So in this case, they are abstracting the set notification connected, passing the theme into a use effect. So this is going to take a function, as you can see here, and then it's just going to set the state or do anything that you need to do when, for example, you connect to the WebSocket in this case, or whatever it is. That means that we don't need to add the theme, I think, to the dependencies in this use effect. I still need to get used to this API. I haven't really used it, but keep that in mind. If you encounter that you're using, so many dependencies here, just setting state, you might need to use a useEffectEvent. Another big change for React Native developers is that we have new features in the DevTools. Now you are going to be able to view the network request in the DevTools, which is really cool. Here we can see a quick example. You now will have a network inspector tab, but this was already possible with Expo, and there is actually a note here. They are explaining the network calls that they support, which is fetch, XML, HTTP request, and image. Okay, with custom networking libraries such as Expo Fetch coming later. In case you didn't know, Expo comes with a fetch function, which is actually cooler than the fetch function that comes with React Native, because Expo Fetch allows you to, it supports streaming and all the good stuff. Apps using Expo will continue to see the Expo network panel, a separate implementation by the Expo framework, which will log these additional request sources, but has slightly reduced features. So keep that in mind. So let's quickly see this in my application. Here I have the DevTools. I have the Expo network here. Let's refresh the application by pressing R. I think we should be able to do it. Maybe Command R. Yes, that is going to refresh the application. here we have the fetch request. So how cool is that? You can filter, fetch, JS, image, media, or all. I like to keep fetch, especially if you have many images. And yeah, so here we have the Pokemons. You can see the, let me close this. You can see the endpoint, the request method, the payload, the preview of the response, and the response. Now let's take a look at the performance tab. By the way, let's see if I have it here. We do have this performance. Cool. Let's see what we can do with it. So the performance tracing allows you to record a performance session within your application to understand how your JavaScript code, important, your JavaScript code is running and what operations took the most time. So in React Native, we show JavaScript execution, React performance tracks, network events, and custom user timings rendered in a single performance timeline. Together with support for web performance APIs in 83, this is a powerful feature set providing fine-grained visibility into what might be making your React Native application slow. We encourage everyone to try out a performance panel to make it a part of your daily workflow. Let's take a look. Let's see if I can get it to work here. Click the record button or hit Command E to start a new recording. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to press the button and it's, I guess, just recording the performance of my application. So let's go back to my app and then maybe I can just maybe shake. Oh, and it's frozen. There we go. Let's see if you can see update. Let me shake and reload the app. Not sure if this application will have something meaningful to see, but let's go back. Let's stop it and let's see what kind of info we have here. Oh, wow. This looks pretty cool, huh? So here we can see the timeline and you can move around it and see what's going on with the code. You can zoom in here using the trackpad as well and move left and right. So if I zoom in here, let's see what happened here. Scheduler, we have thread. What is this? I mean, the amount of detail that you can see here, it's massive, and you can just keep zooming in and see exactly what's going on in your app. Something really cool is that you can double click and add a label. Hello, hit enter, and then it's going to be on the left. You can always come back to this specific item. This looks very nice. Look at this. So if you select, for example, this function, it's going to take you the time that it took to execute, 35 milliseconds. So of course, this application does not really need to have a performance check because it's just one screen, but definitely super cool that you can do this. So performance, it's a very important thing, and definitely I think this deserves a video on its own, but make sure to check it out and start exploring. Just run some tests and see if you can spot anything unusual. There is a new desktop application. Today we're introducing a vastly improved desktop experience with our new bundle desktop application. It features the same zero install setup as before, faster launch, better windowing, and improved reliability. All right, I didn't know that. Man, I'm testing this on Chrome instead of downloading the application. Where's the link? Well, I don't see the link to download, but cool. Now there's a new Canary feature, guys, very important, intersection of servers. You know, the React Native core team and, Expo and all the React Native community, we're always working on bringing web APIs into React Native. And now there's a new Canary intersection of server that API that you can check out. And what this allows you can see here in the video, it allows you to detect the intersection between between views, right? So for example, you can drag an item inside a box view, like you can see here, and then you will get events, and you can do any logic based on that. Next, we have experimental Hermes V1. Hermes V1 is the next evolution of Hermes, with improvements in the compiler and the virtual machine that significantly boost JavaScript performance. This is great. This means React Native applications are getting faster and faster. They also introduce a new experimental feature that allows you to compile out the legacy architecture on iOS. If your app is already in the new architecture, you can try to remove the legacy architecture code by installing your pods with this flag. Interesting. There's another experimental feature: debug your precompiled binaries on iOS. In this release, we've implemented the ability to debug your React Native code that is shipped with a precompiled binary. So in case you didn't know, React Native 82, I think, introduced precompiled React Native. This means that when you are building your application, you don't need to compile React Native, right? You still need to compile other libraries that you're using in your project, but by precompiling or shipping precompiled libraries like React Native, this makes building the application extremely faster. That's why the entire community is working on pre-building modules and libraries so that building React Native applications is fast. And you can now debug your precompiled binaries in case you are a maintainer or doing some precompiling stuff. This is going to be useful for you. Breaking changes. Okay, this is cool. React Native releases are more predictable and easier to upgrade nowadays. React Native 83 is the first release in the history of React Native with no user-facing breaking changes. That is massive. And if you're on React Native 82, you should be able to upgrade your application just by upgrading the package JSON or install directly 83. But actually, I tried this, guys, and I think some of the React Native reanimated or gesture handler libraries rely on a specific React Native version. So if you update the version number, even though it is compatible, the libraries might not like it and you might have some errors. So be careful with that. That means you might need to upgrade as well some other dependencies to make it work. And that's it for this video. Definitely super excited about the network tab and the performance improvements, as well as being able to use the latest React 19.2 APIs in React Native. The code is going to be cleaner. I'm going to leave the link to my example in the description. Remember, if you want to become a master in React Native, check out codebases.dev. Check out my AI tattoo application. It's definitely the best application I've made in my entire career, and I'm super proud of it. And I want you to check it out, and I want you to leave me a 5-star review and consider becoming a pro member at codebases.dev. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.